This is video 4 in a series of how to maneuver Google Classroom. So if you're watching this video, you already know all the basics of Google Classroom. If you don't know all the basics of Google Classroom, stop and go back and watch the previous videos because you will be lost. So this video is going to be how to do an online quiz. And there's a couple of different ways to do that. And I'm going to show you both ways, and I'm going to tell you which one's my preferred method. I'm going to start with my preferred method, especially for right now and teaching remotely. At this point, taking a test or quiz online is more for me to see where students are at in their learning versus for the grade and for assessment. It's an assessment, but in a different thought process. So you will go to Classwork, click it, click create, and we're not going to do an assignment or material. We're going to do either a quiz assignment or a question. I like questions for two different reasons. The first one we're going to discuss in this video. I can click a single question. So I'm going to make my question a couple of different things. You can choose how the students answer. Is it a short answer or is it multiple choice? I typically choose multiple choice for this, and this is good for in-classroom and online learning. It makes a great bell ringer or a way to do an exit slip. So first I'm going to start with my instructions. So in the instructions, I'm going to give them a little bit of prodding. This is what we're talking about. I'm reminding them that we have recently been on Chapter 6, Section 1, and that I want them to select the answer that's most correct to them. And then I'm going to come up here and I'm going to present the question. Hypothesis and theory are two different things. What is a hypothesis? So now that I have that, I have multiple choice selected. I do want to have a due date. So I'm going to put this, as always. Students can see class summary. So you can either choose to click this or not click this. I usually let my students see the class summary. They don't see names, but I let them see, it sends out like a bar graph so students can kind of see where we stand. So this might be bell ringer and the date. So there you go, bell ringer. Okay, so then I'm going to click my options. So this is what it looks like. I'm going to left click option one time and it highlights it. And then I'm simply going to type that in. So I have my first one. My second one, I will just click it again, left click one time. Depending on what you're looking for, you can get 2 options, 3 options, 4 options, 10 options. They can only pick one, so keep that in mind. And for the purpose of this one, I'm going to give 4 different ones. And so now I'm done. I have everything set up the way I want to. You don't select which one is correct, you're just done. Now there's other options here that you can go into. I am personally not going to do that right now with this particular one. I just want to see, do they know the difference between a hypothesis and a theory by telling me which one of these is a hypothesis. And I'm going to ask my kids. Now notice, this time I did not set a topic for my students. So when they go into classwork, it's very frustrating because they can't find it. There's nothing that talks about it. They're going to have to go into the stream, which isn't a bad thing as long as you are willing to consistently manually move it to the top. If not, you will want to assign a topic for it. Topic could be bell ringer. When I open it up, this is what it looks like. Nobody has turned it in yet. Okay, it's been assigned to the one person, my daughter, Sarah, and they're 0, 0, 0, 0. Nobody has done these yet. These are a list of all of your students. This is what it looks like on the student end. So they would just come in and they would click a button and then they're done, and then they turn it in. So because most of our students are going to be using their devices versus probably a computer, I wanted to show you what it looks like. So this is Sarah's phone. Here it is, new question, hypothesis and theory. They'll click on it, and this is what they see. This is the question I asked them here. Here's the instructions here. They can add a class comment, and I think we'll go ahead and do that. Here she typed out her comment to the class. So it's there. And now she can go back and she can answer. And then she clicks turn in. Yes, she wants to submit. And then it shows her she has chosen this one. So as you can see, it shows that there's one student in the class that voted for this one, and nobody so far has voted for this one. So this student, Sarah, can come back and continue to look to see how her classmates have voted compared to where she has. And you can see where that would be a very useful tool. And we want them to learn and to see what other kids are doing and to compare answers, not so much for the grade at this point in the game. Also, in class situations, this is what makes it perfect for bell ringers and exit tickets. So now that I am back on my teacher page, I can see this question that I asked and that there is a class comment. One of two things, you can either open the whole thing up or you can click on the class comment. I'll probably just open everything up and take a look. And here's the class comment. There seem to be two correct answers. Hopefully I picked the most correct one. And you can reply to her and it will send it to her email, which is kind of great. All the students can see it. So when I look at my question and I look at the student answers, I can see that one turned it in, and so far I have one person that's voted for this, but let's say 10 people voted for this, 2 people voted for this, 3 people voted for this, and 11 people voted for this one. Well, this one is the incorrect answer because this is talking about a theory. So that's where I can see as a teacher where I need to maybe correct some misconceptions. So that's one way to do a quiz. The other way to do a quiz, go to create and go to quiz. I don't like doing this for people who are not, who I call myself, I have problems with technology. I do my best to keep up, but it can be difficult. It's the same thing. You fill out the title, you do the instructions, you put on a due date, you create a topic if you so choose. But here's where it can get difficult. If you're not used to using Google Forms, you have to create a Google form and go in. It's the same exact way that I showed you in the previous part of the video on how to do a question, the options, how you change the answer, everything's exactly the same. The only thing that's different, and that's partially what makes this one really cool, is this time you can do an answer key. So as you can see, I've asked the question and I have all the same answers that I had before. I came in here and I filled in chapter 6 test and I gave them some instructions, multiple choice questions. There may be more than one correct answer. Make sure you come up here to blank quiz, double click until it's all highlighted and write chapter 6 test as well. Otherwise, it'll look like a blank quiz and you and the students won't be able to find it later. So here's a couple of different things that I should point out to you. Just like before when we were asking the question, you have some choices. You can do multiple choice, you can do short answer, or you can do check boxes. What's neat about check boxes, so many of our testing is going to check all of them that are correct, which I did explain to students up here. So you have different ways that you can decide how you want them to answer it. So here's what's different. You can add an answer key by clicking answer key. So now it gives you a different viewpoint. And I am going to say that this one is the correct answer. So I have left clicked it and you can see that it is green and it has a check mark compared to everything else. I don't want to offer any feedback and I'm going to click that I'm done. Also, you'll need to click, just left click, that it's required. If you do not click that, that means students can skip it and turn in their quiz or their test without answering the question. So I make all of those required. If you want to ask more than one question, you'll come down here to duplicate, and as you can see, it's duplicated my question. I'm just going to rewrite it, and I'll ask a new question. And I will probably change my format. This time I want them to give me a short answer, and then they can do it. I've made it required. Now, if you do anything, if you use multiple choice or a checkbox, it will automatically grade it for you. If you do short answer or paragraph, it will grade everything but those. So you will need to figure out the grades on your own. Now, when we're back in the classroom, there's a very important feature, and it's locked mode on Chromebooks. If you turn this on, that prevents students from opening up other tabs inside their Chromebook while they're taking the test online, which lowers the possibility of cheating. So when I'm done and I have my test and my form fixed the way I want it to, then I will just click send, and I will just do a link, shorten my URL, I will copy it, and I'm done. Once you have shared, you sent it, copied the link just like I showed you, come back to your classroom, and now you can see the assign is highlighted, and you can now assign it to your students. And here it is. Email me and let me know what other types of tutorials you would like to have with regard to Google Classroom. I'm going to show you next how to do a discussion feed or an open forum. If you've ever taken an online college course, you know exactly what I mean. The discussion posts, the dreaded discussion posts, but they don't have to be bad.